Hi, guys, and happy Tuesday. And welcome to Transformational Tuesday number 3. If you're just joining us, you haven't missed much. And we've been talking about the P's in personal power, which is this idea I'm dabbling with for my second book. Week 1 was all about purpose. Week 2 was about planning. And I was supposed to share the third P with you all today. I've made a decision to not do that. I'm going to keep you in suspense for one more week. And instead, a couple of messages I got as a result of last week influenced me to talk a little more about the second P, about the plan. And I realized I left some things out that are really critically important to understanding this process, and I'm going to delve into those today. I have 4 things I want to share with you around that second P of planning. So with that, we'll get right into it. Number 1 is how important it is to plan what you're going to say no to. Last week, we talked all about how important it was to plan what you're going to say yes to, and carving out time on your calendar for those things that help bring your purpose to life, your vision to life, your mission to life, and really making sure that you know what those things are. You align yourself with, what it is you say is important and what you're doing. But we never talked about all the things that can derail us and stand in our way, and how much time most of us spend doing those things. We've got to figure out what things work against you and what things are taking away from that plan you have, and you've got to figure out how to say no to those things. Let's say that you are on a diet and you're trying to control how much you eat and get your weight down, just as an example. It may be that you have to practice and plan to say no to your friends when they ask you to go out for meals with them. Maybe you can only say yes to doing that once or twice a week, and the rest of your time you have to cook at home. Maybe it's that when you do go out, you have to say no to getting the bread before the meal or having dessert. Maybe you have to say no to a third drink. It might be, I just can't have more than 2. Maybe it's that you can't stay out past 10 p.m. because when you do, then that affects your plan for the next day and the things that you want to bring to life the next morning. And so planning for that in advance will help you so much. It might even be that you have to look at the menu of the restaurant you're going to and figure out what you're going to get. And the reason I say that it's important to do these things in advance is that when you're in the moment and there's peer pressure there, or you're having fun, or you're distracted by what's going on, your emotions tend to take over, and it's easier to give into that temptation of like, wow, it's just this once, or it won't hurt me, just this one time. If you make the plan in advance for how you're going to say no, when you're going to say no, it's easier to stick to. Warren Buffett, his favorite quote of mine is that successful people say no to most things, but really successful people say no to almost everything. And I have found that to be true so much. Potentially the scrolling you're doing on social media at night, or watching too much TV, or joining every committee or group or special project that gets thrown out there at work is standing in the way of you achieving your most important goals. When we say yes to everything, we don't really say yes to the big things. We have to practice saying no to things so that we can focus on what really, really matters. So get comfortable with saying no. Remember your purpose and your calling. It's easier to say no when you have a greater yes in mind. So that was number 1. Number 2, and this one's a little shorter, but maybe not any less complicated. It's so important to write down your plan. And I think we avoid doing this a lot because then it's like, well, what if I don't do it? I'll feel like a failure. Or gosh, if I write it down, then I'm like committed to it. I'm stuck to it. Yeah, exactly. You are going to be so much more likely to execute on any plan you make just by the mere fact of writing it down. All sorts of science and research shows us that we learn things better, we remember things better, but we simply do better with those things that we write down. And I would say that putting it in a place where you can see it constantly is another important part of that process. Maybe it's on your desk. Maybe it's on your mirror in the bathroom. Maybe it's right by your bed where you see it and go by it every morning when you wake up. But putting your plan on paper and in writing is going to make you that much more likely to execute on it. I guarantee it. Try it. And one thing I'd also add to this is that checking in on a weekly basis with your plan and saying, how did I do this week? Did I achieve the things that I wanted to? If so, why? If not, why not? And then making a better plan that takes those learnings into account for the future week is also going to be critical. So learn to say no, plan to say no, and write things down. That's number 1 and number 2. Number 3, and this is a tough one, is remember that what you're planning around is not always going to go feel good in the moment. It's oftentimes a plan that we're making to become who we want to be, not become or be who we already are. And so we're going to have to do things that are all about the future. Let's say you're trying to be a great mom and you want to be in a situation with your daughter when she's in high school or in college where the two of you are best friends and you can talk about anything. And so to do that, to achieve that plan, you go pick her up at school or go attend a soccer game of hers while she's in middle school today. And she may not be grateful for that or say thank you. It may not feel like you're really making progress towards that plan. And you may think, well, the heck with this. Why do I keep doing this? Or, maybe you're on a fitness routine and you haven't lost any weight yet or seen any signs of progress. We live in this fast food, fast feedback, immediate gratification world these days. But the reality is bringing a purpose to life is not like that. You're going to have to do things that are tough in the moment, they're hard in the moment, but you don't do them for the moment. You do them to become who you want to be in the future. So recognize that the planning and some of the things you're going to have to do, they don't benefit you today. They're going to benefit you tomorrow. It's important that you have faith and you continue to take those next steps, even if you can't see the whole staircase. And number 4, and this is probably as important as all of them, but you have to plan to plan. And so if you don't have a specific time carved out each week or even each day, just a little bit to say, strategically, like, where am I going? Where am I headed? Am I doing the things I need to become the person I want to be? That's a problem too. It's easy to say, okay, have a purpose statement and plan around it. But if you don't plan to plan, you don't actually have time planned in on a Monday morning or on a Sunday night or at some point during the week to say, I'm going to make my plan, then you'll never be consistent and disciplined about the plan. And also recognizing that if you're not an expert at this and this is hard for you, start small. Just plan, what are the 2 biggest things I need to do this week that if I did nothing else, these 2 things would help me become the person I want to be? What big 2 things? Just 2 things that have to get done this week if I'm, chasing after this purpose of whatever it may be. So our quick recap: we plan to say no. We say no often. We write down our plans. We put them to paper where we can see them. We know that our plan is about our future, and we recognize it's not always going to be helping us, benefiting us, and showing us results and success in the moment, and that's okay. And we plan to plan. We actually carve out time each week to make our plans, think about our plans. And so with that, I hope that the second P of plan is a little more clear. Again, I guarantee you do these things and you do them consistently, your whole life will change. You'll be happier, you'll have more fulfillment, more joy, and you will be more successful. So with that, sayonara. I'll see you guys next Tuesday. Thank you for watching.